Hello, welcome. I'm Martina, one of your hosts for our podcast, Everyday Ordinary Extraordinary Women, and I'm here with Christina. Christina, you want to say hi?
Hello, everybody.
And we were inspired to create this podcast after pondering this question. What would the world look like where we can be inspired by every person, right? Our immediate way of being is to compare and judge. And when we do that, there's always somebody losing and somebody winning. So depending on our point of view, I can either feel very small, so I'm losing, or I can feel arrogant and dismissive, which I'm very good at, by the way. Those are our only two options from that perspective. So here's our thought. Someone's everyday normal is somebody else's extraordinary. Judgment comes from first impressions. And now we invite you, the listener, to go beyond first impressions and see the magic everywhere. There's inspiration at every corner, in everyone, if we're willing to look. So we're here today with Ashley. And Ashley, you want to say hi and introduce yourself? Tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Ashley Russo. I am a mother of four, married mother of four. My children are ages 13, 11, 9, and 5. 3 girls and a boy. And that's what I've been doing for a really, really long time. And right now I am stepping into a new role as a life coach, specifically in the genres of health and spirituality and lifestyle medicine, which is a really cool thing. That's me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. You know, it's like one of the things I love about you is your sweetness. Like there's this sweetness about you that is just so, and you're so beautiful, and your willingness to, with all the challenges you had, from what I know, to just rise above them, just go further, and your unwavering faith and trust is just so beautiful. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Now, could you answer this question for me? If you really knew me, you would know. What would we know about you if we really knew you?
That I am a spirit-led person. I think that is really important to understand. I have been that way my entire life, which isn't necessarily the norm with most of the population, and it kind of left me very disconnected from reality for an extremely long time, probably until I was about 30, honestly. And I didn't have the language for that. I didn't understand really what was going on. So that is really strong for me to be able to have kind of in my toolbox now, to be able to say, okay, that's what my primary driving force is. And that's where I live life from. So, and that's like a constant. It's a constant. Very rarely do I kind of dip out of that. And yeah, so that's huge.
It is beautiful when you say that, because for me, I'm automatically, like, often how it occurs is I trust as long as it goes my way. Right? I will trust and have faith as long as the things that I want will happen. And because we feel so unsafe in this world, and we're not getting that love is the ultimate safety, right? And that faith and trust is the ultimate safety, but we just got it all mixed up. So it's beautiful to hear you say that, and from very early on, right? For me, like I didn't grow up in a household where, yes, we went to church, but not really. So having to figure that out, right? And I'm like, I'm a very spiritual person, but religious? Oh, no, right? which essentially is the same, but you know.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I heard something yesterday actually that I thought was really cool about spirituality in and of itself having some kind of like dogmatic separation from religion, and how really religion is just, you know, human constructs and frameworks to live within, that's already kind of done for you and easily applicable to your life. So yeah, I stayed in the definitely in the or the spiritual world for spiritual world. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. For a long time, and I have found my way back to religion because my children, half of my children go to school at a Christian faith church school thing. And it's just been so natural. It's like, okay, like I don't necessarily need to go and do all of these other things and look at all these other practices and, you know, kind of immerse myself in that, because I can get everything I need for my healing, for whatever, just straight from the Bible, straight from scripture. Like it's really all there. Like you can go and do the internal work, and you can go on a spiritual walk, and you can, I've done that. I have walked through every single modality on earth that's within light realms, and man, like it's just, I have found my way back, and it's just easy. It's just easy. It's supposed to be easy. So yeah, I am very proud of that and how I've come back to it. So it's cool.
Really cool. All right. So tell us a funny or silly or embarrassing story.
Yeah, so this one, it wasn't easy to come up with. And then I remembered something just happened very much yesterday. Like I could have talked about my hair, but no. One of the threads that I really appreciated throughout your setup of your podcast and, you know, some of the framework that you had sent me was specifically around just challenges or you know, driving forces, and you kind of alluded to it before, but my struggles since I was a child were undiagnosed learning disabilities, because I have such a spiritual connection and a tie beyond. I feel like I have walked the majority of my life with one foot on earth and one foot on the other side of the veil. That's the truth. That's where I see most autistic children living from. And most of the time, one foot was on the other side of the veil for the majority of it. So when you have something like that, you have physical deficits, because God can't pour all of that into, you know, somebody. So you have these physical deficits. And mine were undiagnosed for such a long time, for honestly, until my own children were starting to get diagnosed with things. And then I was like, I kind of knew it and I heard it in my head, but I didn't have a definite anything. So math has been a massive struggle for me. And it's really funny because in my own communication and my own learning through life, being able to share that with my husband, because I wasn't seen by my parents in that way, being able to share this with my husband and let him into that like intimate part of like, no, this is really how my brain operates, has been quite interesting. Like yesterday I was at the grocery store and my husband's like, all right, you have this much. We have this much until I get paid tomorrow. This is what you can go and do. So I'm like going to the grocery store. Let's say for simple math, right? Let's say it's $100. I have $100 that I can spend. So I'm going around and I'm picking out things, and like in my brain, if something is over $5 and it's like 7, it's automatically 10. So just because I have to keep it simple. So there's like maybe 10 things in my cart and they're all over $5, but all under $10. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where am I on this? And what's happening? So I start like putting stuff back, and I get up to the register and it's like $40 worth of stuff that I had gotten. And I come home and I'm like so disappointed, because I'm like, I wanted those English muffins and now I got to wait 2 days. And I tell my husband and I'm like, I can't believe it. Like I thought I was way over, and I thought that some $3 thing was going to like put me way over. So I put it all back, and I was really like $60 off in my head. So he was like, oh my goodness. And then last night we're watching, I don't know if you've seen it, The Sound of Creation. It's on Gaia or Netflix or something. It's a really cool, it's about sacred geometry and sound, and how sound is like the first language. Sound and vibration are like the first language that humans were able to communicate through. So they're talking about sacred geometry and the angles and the how all of the angles in all of the sacred geometry add up to 9, and the Fibonacci sequence, and how, you know, the two numbers in a row add up to the next number, and all of that stuff. And my brain is like, but I get this. Like, I can see the net that we live in, and I can see the matrix, and I can see sacred geometry everywhere. And my husband's staring at me like, what? I don't understand. I'm like, yeah, tell me about it. This is why Earth has been so difficult for me to navigate, because man, these human rules are like ridiculous. Like, can't we just go by the divine ones that are already here? Hello?
Yeah. It's interesting because it's all a construct, right? It's in a
Yeah.
way, it's all made up, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my funny story.
It's so cool too, though, because when you only keep it in your head and you don't share with anyone, you can't really figure out ways to work with it either, right? Like, now that you've shared it with your husband, you can actually come up with some strategies that might work better for yourself. Like, maybe you just keep a little pocket calculator in the cart with you and add stuff up as you go along, or maybe use your phone calculator, or, you know, like, but if you don't share it, you don't come up with their strategies, because you see the world from one structure or framework, and it's not going to come to you until you share, right? So that's the beauty of sharing funny and embarrassing stories sometimes, is because we're stuck in our perspective, and until you can see it from someone else's, sometimes you can't see the answers. And
I literally love that you just said that. Thank you.
You just blew her mind. I watched her. I was like,
take my phone calculator out. That's so silly. No, I need an extra calculator just for grocery shopping, because that's how my brain works. I have to let my cat out. Hold on. But no, I love that. You did just blow my brain. And that's why, I don't know, I'm really grateful for the ability to connect this with my husband, because that's what I'm going for, is like, okay, now somebody can really see me. Like, let's move on from this place and get to the next place, because that whole being seen thing.
Yeah, and there's something about naming it that takes away, you know, we have all those best kept secrets, like all that stuff that we feel inadequate about and we don't share because, you know, we feel inadequate about it. But if we start sharing it, and we start really expressing how we feel, and sharing all those things that we think are so bad, first, you know, we are freed because we don't have to keep it a secret. And second, it opens up a space for other people with a similar situation where they're like, oh, wow, now I understand. How cool is that? So thank you for sharing that. That's really powerful, right? And yes, I believe that, you know, schools and society has been made to a standard that does not really exist. So so it's really, really challenging. So
Amen.
Ashley, I'm gonna just ask you a few questions and you just pick one. They're all essentially the same. But so what is your biggest lesson, or what made you who you are today? Or what took the most courage? Or when did you stand up for something that mattered for you? So essentially, it's more or less this. It might be the same issue, or might be the same thing, might be different things. Just pick one, or pick them all.
I think it pretty much runs concurrent from what I was just sharing, that my greatest hurdle that I've had to overcome is understanding who I am as a human. I understand the spiritual walk, but it's this human body that I needed to really dive into and understand and accept and forgive, and then forgive everybody else who didn't see me the way that I really thought it was very obvious. Like, why can't anybody see this? Of course you can see into me because I can see into you. So why can't, you know, I just assumed all humans were kind of like me, but not. So my greatest hurdle thus far, I think, has been having to overcome that. And then everything that happens because of not being seen in my struggles as a child. A lot in my life, I took a very shadowy path to get to this point. So, and I can tie it all right to those, few situations that happened in my childhood. There were many, but, specifically around that. And then my brother had cancer too when he was young. So that all really tied in big time. So really being able to voice that I had struggles to the degree that I had struggles, and that I had faked the majority of life up until recently, and that I had to accept that as part of my story and as part of what I need to bring with me going forward, and being able to own it. Because I still am working on the shame that had gone along with all of the decisions that I had made because of wounds that I had from childhood. So yeah. Let's see. And something that, and how I'm using it today, my daughter has autism, and she has, just like me, one foot on the other side of the veil and walks a very, I had to remind her the other day that no, she's only 11, even though she feels eternal. Like, we need to connect with the human experience because that's why you're here. So, buddy, hold on a second. He's crying. Can you just hold on 1 second? Okay, sorry. I'm coming.
That is really powerful, isn't it? Like that conversation of walking in two places. And, I believe that we all at one point, till a certain point, had an experience like that.
I think we all have the capacity, right, to experience that, but most of us are so in our physical bodies and in the conversations we have here that we don't really give space for it or play in that realm. And I think if we understood it even just a little bit, it would give us a lot more space to understand a lot more people on the planet. So we're talking about this conversation that you just started, Ashley, about the 1 foot here and 1 foot on the in the veil, and how if we could all embrace that conversation, all even if we don't understand it, if we're still really stuck in our physicalness, even if we could just wrap our head around it a little more, we would have so much capacity to understand so much more people on the planet.
Yeah. For sure.
What I find is interesting. So, I studied way back when, in my last life, I studied history of Christianity, and the church was the center of everything in the Middle Ages. And then Renaissance came, and with it, Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." Right? So and it became all about trying to prove something that you cannot really prove. So we went from one extreme, because there was a lot of abuse in the church, right, to another extreme, and we lost a lot of, I'm going to say, of our potential, of our essence in that process, when we're trying to explain and control and manipulate. Because before it was all like, oh, thank God made, and there's a point in between, right? It's like, yes, we have divine guidance, and there's still me taking the actions, right? But we've lost a little bit of that or a lot of it in this process of life, really.
I definitely think religion can definitely do a lot of damage, obviously, and it has over the years. I mean, wars right now are being fought over them at this current moment. that's why I really enjoy the Bible in and of itself, because it's a living, alive book. And to your point about Descartes, I think therefore I am, God told Moses that his name is I am that I am. So it's not like Descartes had that original thought. He intellectually bumped into a spiritual channel and was like, oh, I'll pick that up and make it about an intellectual thing. And it's like, no, but that was literally how God created creation. So yeah, it's just a really interesting construct. The whole thing, the whole human experience is like, wow, this is insane and so cool, and like, what is happening?
Yeah, I always say it's amazing how well the world works for how dysfunctional we really are, right? Sometimes we really are quite dysfunctional.
Yeah. The opportunities are literally abundant and endless. So yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So Ashley, what would you say your superpower is?
Well, having one foot on the other side of the veil is pretty intense sometimes. But being able to see people's hearts and being able to see inside their souls when I'm permitted to, is a really amazing, powerful thing. And sometimes I don't even know it's happening until later. I had 2 instances last week where I was getting phone calls from people that were just struggling, client calls and things like that. And just in their general conversations that they thought had nothing to do with what was going on in their life, God was like, wait, hold on. And like would open this door and just pour through me all of this information for them to just completely uproot whatever was happening and shift them in huge ways. I had somebody who was had like an entity had kind of attached to her, and she was really struggling with it. And this is a very spiritual religion. I mean, she's like a Christian woman of God, and it wasn't intentional, but she was really struggling with this. And we had talked, and I just all of this stuff, and I could tell when spirit's moving through me, because I'm not there. I mean, I am there, I'm watching it, but it's this amazing divine thing that just pours through me and goes right inside, like right inside, like grabs it. It's really amazing. And then another client, a client of mine, had a very similar situation too, and I was just like, wow. And then talking to them this week, it's like that conversation we had shifted everything, and I love that, because it's not something I can ask for or know it's going to happen. So that's really cool too, because it's like, oh, okay, where are we going today? Okay. So yeah.
That's where your faith and trust comes in, which is so beautiful.
Yes.
So what fills you up?
That God. In terms of my humanness, I don't really know. I try a lot of different things. I like paddleboarding. I just took up sourdough bread making, which is like the most cathartic, very frustrating experience. Being with spirit, just being with spirit, just being in that church place. And I don't mean church as in the structure, I mean the hallelujah, I am in a higher level of earth, in a lower level of heaven place, just fills me up. I don't think that there's anything else on earth that can fill me up like that at all. Being a mom. But no, it doesn't even. I mean, it does, but it doesn't to that degree. So, yeah.
I have chills. I think we all want to get to that place where we can just be like, I'm connecting, tuning everything else out.
Yeah.
almost like just unplugging from earth and plugging into here to the higher realm, right?
Profound. It's really profound.
Like, and it could be just that easy. We just don't get it's that easy, right? Like,
I bet it
to
happens
just
to you
choose.
in massage. Does it?
Yeah.
And the massage, Christina?
During massage, absolutely. Like, I'm in a different zone when I'm massaging. It's like, sometimes I'm like, I don't even know why I just decided to start at your feet or at your glutes or like, and then the person's like, wow, how did you know that was where you needed to start? And I'm like, I don't know. Your guides are always telling me what you need. Like, I don't think about it. I don't ever think about what I have to do when I'm with a client. I know it's coming through from my guides, your guides. It's not coming from my head at all, ever. Yeah. It's a fun place to be. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Yeah.
But do I connect like that when I'm not doing my massage? It's harder, right? Like, it's easy for me to do it when I'm in that space. It's harder for me to do it at other times. But I know we all have the capacity to do that, just choosing to do it. But do we? And why don't we? That's an even bigger question, right?
You know what? I think, would you like to go lay on the couch? Or you want to stay here? Okay. I think it was a muscle that I developed as a child because Earth obviously wasn't very safe for me. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go hang out with God because the things he says are way better than what's happening here. So I'm going to go over there and hang out in some upper world and just watch and hope my body figures it out because so yeah. It's just a muscle.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to introduce our guest with us today?
Timothy Jude, William Russo. I gave him all the names because he was my last one, so he got 4.
And he got all the cuteness of all of them.
He did, yeah. He's got dimples everywhere, and he's 5. And he was 5. It was his first year in kindergarten, and he so he was on Friday night, so he's having headaches, and it's not been a fun time. So we're just hanging out, going slow.
Well, thank you for joining us, Timothy, and thanks for bringing your beautiful smiling face. All right, so Ashley, if you had a magic wand and could give people any quality, what would it be and why?
To be able to see spirit. I think that would solve all the world's problems. I don't know that there's another answer. Hey, mommy's gonna talk, okay? I don't think that there's another answer. I think that would solve all humanity's problems if they could just see in the natural, see in the spirit, and live by natural laws. That would be it. And then that would be it for wars and everything. Hey.
See the love and see the beauty and see the...
Right. And actually see what they're doing and understand the divinity in the human experience. And that's what we're doing. See that you're a spiritual being here having a human experience, not the other way around. It's not the other way around. But go get some of your blocks, okay? Okay, books. Great. Okay, go ahead.
So, what do you want to be remembered as? Or what do you want people to remember about you?
I was a minister to souls, that I showed people a way back to God, or reminded them of who they are, or that I woke them up inside, and reminded them that this is a divine experience and that's what you're doing here first, and that every single soul birthed on earth has got a mission. Whether or not you choose to accept that or see that is your divine free will, which is like crazy to me. But yeah, Oh, we're reading about sharks. Down here. Yeah, that would be my, that would be it.
It would be a really different planet if everyone was interacting with everyone else as their divine, right? Like that you're interacting with God with every single person you're interacting with. Like it would be a very, very different experience.
Yeah, for sure. When we're done, okay? When we're done.
So, just one last question. What are you most proud of? Like, what do you consider your biggest accomplishment?
That's a really difficult question. At this current moment in time, the fact that all of my children are in the educational institutions that are serving them the best, I think is amazing. That was especially with my child with really significant learning disabilities. That was a very long faith walk, and it started when she was in kindergarten. She was diagnosed with autism. I know, it's okay, we'll tape it. And we had to go through the whole entire process of getting her outplaced. And this year, before she went to a really horrible public middle school, it's horrible because there's just no structure there at this moment in time. She was finally outplaced into a school that she is doing amazing at. It's a therapeutic school. It's really far away from here. It's an hour and a half without traffic away from here. So she goes every single day and gets up at 5 o'clock. And that's just amazing. And the fact that my two youngest are in a really amazing Christian school where they have really only known education and God in one. Like there is no differentiation between, my 13-year-old who is in a public school. That's not necessarily a good example because she went to a private school, but myself growing up in a religious, spiritual household, going to a public school and then going to church on Sunday, it was so disconnected. And it was way more convincing for me to say, oh, no, I'm going to go with the ways of the world because that's obviously what everybody else is doing. And my parents are crazy if they think I'm, like all of that. So the fact that their whole entire world, I'm not going to drop you, believe me, relax, I have you. Their whole entire world has God in the conversation, no matter what facility they're in. I'm in love with that. I'm just really proud of all of that. So that's my biggest moment right now. Because that's a huge win.
I know.
Baby.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so important to have all of your worlds mirroring what you want, right? Like your kids just are immersed in this conversation that supports them, and you don't have to worry, right? Like what's going on in school or whatever. Like you just know that
Right.
they yeah, it's really beautiful.
Having to fight for that spiritual process to continue in them. I don't have to do that because their school, that's what their school is showing them. So
cool. So Ashley, do you want to share with our listeners today about your business and how they could reach you, or if you have any special offers you want to?
Yeah, that would be great. I am the owner of a really cool life coaching practice called The Health Rescue. You can find me at thehealthrescue.com. My website's there. It mostly targets functional nutrition, which is a branch of functional medicine. We work to optimize the body in how it's supposed to function. So when you provide the body with the things that it needs, it just resets itself because God's designed us miraculously and we are self-healing. So if you fuel us the right way, then the right things happen. but understanding the science and the nuance behind that is really important. So I specialized in that, and I specialized in lifestyle medicine, which would be like a fancy way of saying spiritual practices, I guess, within medical terminology. Because lifestyle is all about optimizing sleep and stress management and all of those different things that go into a healthy lifestyle. And then spiritual healing. It's not necessarily something that I lead with, but obviously, if God just kind of stops time and opens windows for me and allows this stuff to pour through, that's what I do. I don't, necessarily lead with that again, just because I want to target all souls. So in January, probably later on in January, closer to February, I am part of a really big Rise Up Wellness Collective. And we're doing a really awesome New Year's kickoff detox program. So there's a bunch of different practitioners that are joining that'll have different, speaking weeks. And I mean, it's really cool. There's even a holistic dentist or a holistic dental hygienist who is just an insane wealth of knowledge. It's really cool listening to her right now. But we talk about mental health and gut health and just all of the things. So it will be really cool.
And they're all related, right? Like mental health, gut health, it's all related. But we live in this world where we compartmentalize, right? There's the body, and then there's the mind, and there's the,
You know what I heard yesterday or the other day in that Sound of Creation thing, which I thought was brilliant. Visual sight isn't even as powerful, just talking about how everything's connected, as your auditory skills. Apparently your auditory nerves are connected to every single organ in your body. So sound is like one of the most incredible, most ancient, it is probably the easiest way to shift a paradigm inside your body. But anyways, that just flew into my head. To your point that, everything is connected. Everything is connected. And it all starts in your gut, if you ask me.
So true. So true. Well, we are so excited to keep an eye out for that. And we would just want to thank you so much for being here with us today.
Very welcome. Thank you for having me. This is fun.
As always, my mind is expanded, and thank you for your little Timothy joining us, because his smiling face has added another level to our call today. So thank you. Thank you everyone for listening. If you loved what you hear today, please leave us a review or share with your friends. And please always remember that you are extraordinary. You rock. Until next time, Martina, you want to say goodbye?
Bye for now. Bye-bye.